Hi everyone, it's Neil from WineExpedition.com. Once again in the beautiful Santa Cruz Mountains. Are we actually in the city of Aptos here?
Soquel.
Soquel. And we're actually at Soquel Vineyards. I'm here with Paul Bargetto. How are you, Paul?
Great to see you, Neil.
Now, Paul runs the vineyard here with his brother Peter, and they're twin brothers. So I thought you were Peter, but you're actually Paul.
I was Peter yesterday, I'm Paul today.
If I call you Peter later, are you gonna hit me?
I might.
Okay. And when you were younger, did you guys ever, date girls and...
Oh, you don't want to know about that. You don't want to know about that.
This is a wine website.
No. I still get away with it today. That's why I don't want to talk about it.
God bless you, Paul. So, first off, I'm sitting here looking down at the ocean. On top of, how high are we here?
965-foot elevation.
Is this called Soquel Mountain?
Soquel Mountains. We're actually above the fog line right here, so we don't have to deal too much with the fog and deal with the moisture in the air, so we don't have to worry too much about mold in the vineyard.
Oh, okay.
So 985, 965 is kind of more or less the terrain of the property, how it's laid out. And so yeah, we're above the fog line here.
Now, being above the fog line, how does it affect in terms of growing the grapes and the type of grape? For example, what kind of grapes are planted here?
We have 3 different clones of a Pinot Noir, and we have a little bit of Nebbiolo. We're kind of proud to have a little Nebbiolo here. It's from the northern Italy region.
I heard Italians like wine.
The Italians, they do a good job. In fact, that's where some of the famous wines come out of is in the Piedmont area, the Nebbiolos and the Refuscos, and so we're gonna try and make a little bit of Nebbiolo up here. But mainly it's 3 clones of Pinot Noir. Last year, 2008, we actually made our first estate Pinot Noir. We made 375 cases, and that's in the barrels right now. We're getting ready to bottle that this month. So
Fantastic.
We're kind of excited about that.
And again, being above the fog line, I know a lot of vineyards you go and they talk about, oh, at night the fog comes in and it's good for growing, and it's,
generally, we're looking for you have cool nights in the Santa Cruz Mountains, but you do want warm days. When the fog rolls in, there's just a little bit more moisture on the clusters, and that you might have a potential of some mold. So what we do, this is all organically grown.
Okay.
So we do a lot of spraying initially, early in the season after the set has been the set for the grapes, and we spray dry seaweed, stylet oil. The stylet oil, if there's any mold in the leaves, the stylet oil will kill any spores that are there. So we want to be very careful not to have moisture in our vineyard. So we have a consultant that helps us, but we're on a very strict spray scheduling.
It's all organic and all
It's all
natural.
organic, it's all natural. So.
Fantastic. Pretty neat. So when I look down here, how far down does the property go? I see some houses a little ways down there. How many acres do you have? How many?
Soquel Vineyards has 5.29 acres, and almost 4 acres is planted. Most of it being Pinot Noir, and of course then we have a couple hundred vines of Nebbiolo.
Okay.
These are our neighbors out here. There's about 80 acres in front of us.
There's some vines down there. Is that somebody else's property?
We have a friendly farmer here that has 40 acres. He's taking all his apple trees out and planting a lot of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And we're hoping someday, in the next 5 or 10 years, that this whole valley is planted in grapes that would supply a lot of local wineries.
Is that going to be the trend?
Yes. People tend to like the mountains here do a really good job of high quality food. If I can show you some of these clusters right here. Sure. This is the Pinot Noir clusters. You can see how small the berry size are and how tight the clusters are.
Yeah.
What you have here is this is to show a little bit of color right now, but about 2 weeks ago we just had verasia, meaning from green, the grapes were green, now they've actually turned in color. So we're about 17, 18 bricks right now. And in about a month or so, we'll be checking the sugars to see if they're ripe enough to harvest. But you see how small the skins are, or how small the berry size is. And that's where you get all the flavor and the colors from the skin. So you have a lot more skin ratio versus the pulp. So you tend to get these big, inky, rich wines from the mountains.
Right.
So
small berries,
small berry size, what we're looking for, intense fruit. So with the warm days, smaller yields. You have to find out the balance of the vineyard. You could maybe try and get 10 tons an acre, but the quality's not going to be there. The middle's going to be a little thin. So we're looking for high quality here. That's all we want is high quality.
Right.
So we're willing to sacrifice the tonnage for quality. We might be getting about 1 ton and 3/4 per acre right now, and that's kind of more or less what we're at. But we're after the high quality.
Now, I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier. You said that you took out some apple trees to plant those vines. You said that this used to be plum trees.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, tell us a little bit about this piece of property. You guys have been here how long?
I bought this property with my brother and good friend John, our partner John, back in 1999.
So you've been here 10 years, but...
10 years, but we were across the street on the same road, Glenhaven Road.
Okay.
We established our business in 1987. We were 2,000 cases production.
How many are you now?
5,000.
Nice.
And that's kind of where we want to be, 5,000 case. It's a boutique winery. We have a lot of fun here. We have our wine club.
But this property has a special, it's not just a piece of property you bought, it's...
My grandfather had 54 acres back in 1919. John Bargetto, who actually was the founder of Bargetto Winery.
Sure, down the hill.
Down the hill, 3 miles down the road. And he founded Bargetto in 1929, but they're the first winery in the Santa Cruz Mountains to open up after Prohibition, 1933.
Wow.
So he had this property in 1919. He had Santa Rosa plums on this
no kidding.
on this orchard. He had 240
where we
trees.
stand.
Right where we stand. He was farming, and he'd take the fruit down. He used to actually have the winery, but also sell the fruit. He had a lot of jobs going on back then. The Prohibition times were tough back then.
Sure.
So whatever to make ends meet. And so 1945, the family didn't want to farm anymore, so he sold it. And I remember coming here when I was a kid. I used to pick the Santa Rosa plums.
No kidding.
And I said, what a beautiful piece of property. I'd give anything to own this. And sure enough, when we were across the street with 2,000 cases, we needed to expand. Business was good. And
sure.
we said, I know this place. And I went knocking door to door on this. I went knocking on the owner's door. I wanted to buy this piece of property. He wasn't interested.
And was it still plum trees at the time?
There was 240 Santa Rosa plums.
Okay.
My family was still buying the plums. And I said, David, I want to buy this property. He goes, I know how much it means to you. It's been in your family. Someday, if I ever decide, you'll be the first. Sure enough, a year later, he calls me. He says, Paul, I want to sell you the property. What a gift it was.
Yeah, when that phone rang and you got that call, that must have been amazing.
Dad, it's really happening. We get the property back. What? I said, yeah, David called me. He really did call me. He wants to sell the property. So we went up there, signed the deal. It was done.
Nice.
And then, of course, with all the permit process that we went through.
Oh, and by the way, then you have to knock down 200 plum trees.
Then I came out of the backhoe, had to take out all the plum trees. And then we had another project going on, which was more important at the time, was to build the winery.
Right.
So we built the winery and finished building out in the year 2002. We had our first crush here. And,
hey, I want to go taste some of that wine, Paul.
Beautiful. Come on in, we'll taste a little wine.
All right, let's walk this camera here.